Hey guys, it's Maddie, and today we're going to be discussing Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I honestly can't believe this is the first Rainbow Rowell book that I'm book talking. I've read Fangirl and Eleanor and Park, and I own Carry On, and now I've read Landline. So the only books I haven't read by Rainbow Rowell that she's written are Attachments and Carry On, I think. I wish there were more, because they're all so little, except Fangirl's kind of big. Carry On's really big. Landline by Rainbow Rowell is my first venture into adult literature, besides classic literature like Catcher in the Rye and Huckleberry Finn and the various books that I've been reading because of school. I really enjoyed it, surprisingly. Landline by Rainbow Rowell is about a woman named Georgie who is a comedy writer. She writes for a television network and she's pretty good at it. She is pretty successful. She has a partner named Seth. They've been working on another TV show since they were in college. They've been working on this TV show like on the side because they really want it to be a thing. Georgie's married to a guy named Neil and they have two kids, Alice and Naomi, who goes by Numi, who pretends to be a cat. But anyway, Georgie and Neil plan to take their family to Nebraska for Christmas break, except Georgie gets an offer of a lifetime to sell her script that she's been working on for 19 years to a production company, and they might set it in motion, and this is her big break. She ends up staying home instead of going to Nebraska with her family. Instead of writing the scripts like she's supposed to, she stumbles across this landline that allows her to talk to her husband in the past. That's how she tries to reshape her marriage. There were definitely serious moments along with the cute moments, which is definitely a Rainbow Rowell thing. She knows how to balance. It was difficult to relate to this book in the sense that I'm not 37. It's not an extremely eventful book. There's definitely a lot that happens in the sense of discovery and character development and relationship development. It's really, really, really nice. I liked it a lot. It's definitely not my favorite Rainbow book, mostly because I relate so well to Fangirl and Eleanor and Park made me cry so much. I still really, really enjoyed it. I would give it a 4.25 out of 5 stars and about a 90% on my scale, mostly because it's so short. I really wanted to read more. I mean, it was easy to finish. I finished it in like 3 days. I really wish there would have been more, you know? With a lot of Rainbow Rowell's books, she ends it right when the couple like does the thing you want them to do, and then it's over and we don't know what's going on. You want to end it where it's satisfactory. Her endings are always satisfactory. They're just missing just a little bit, like just a little bit you want to put up in there. The way Rainbow Rowell wrote this book is that she intertwined the real world with memories of her and her husband, and it was really interesting. It was sweet, and I loved seeing their happy moments from the past, or their just interesting little quirks from the past. Rainbow Rowell has a really great way of developing characters and making them seem very real. These characters felt real enough that I feel like I could walk down the street and see them in my neighborhood. I really enjoyed being able to recognize that these people could exist. They're relatable and they're real and they're recognizable and they're not too perfect or too damaged. They're not unbelievably perfect or unflawed. They're a really nice mix of flaws, quirks, insecurities, traits, and talents. She's also the queen of dialogue. I feel like I could have either heard or said most of this dialogue. I suggest that you read this. If you haven't read any Rainbow Rowell books, I suggest you go immediately and read as many as you can because they're easy to read. I think I read Eleanor and Park in like a day. If you haven't read it, I would go read it and then come back so we can discuss it, because I am gonna go into some spoilers because there were a couple things that happened in this book that I'm itching to discuss with everyone. If you haven't read it, gotta go. Bye! So time travel kind of messes me up in books. I know this wasn't exactly time travel because she didn't technically go anywhere in the past. Time travel storylines always really mess me up because I have a hard time comprehending what is happening and why it's happening, and if the time travel portion affected the past in the past or they were newly affecting the past. I think what happened in this book is that in the past, future Georgie was calling Neil and Neil thought it was past Georgie. This happened in 1998, even though 2013 Georgie was calling 1998 Neil. It had already happened and she was just continuing the timeline. I wonder like what would have happened if Neil would have been like, I'm so glad that you called me, honey, and she was like, but I didn't, and then he'd be like, what are you talking about? Time travel is just like a really messed up concept. There's just too much that could go wrong if you alter the timeline. I love that Neil and Georgie were like a study in opposites. She's so vibrant and lively and just always talking and smiling and cracking jokes. Neil's just a stoic, hardly ever laughing man. It was really sad to me that the woman who was a comedy writer was married to a man who never laughs. I don't think Georgie understood that necessary breaks are very important. That's finally what she realized when she got to talk to Neil on the phone. I loved how 1988 paralleled 2013 when they both went rushing for each other, but in different time periods and for different reasons. It was a study in opposites and a study in parallels. One of my favorite details was that Naomi, or Numi, thought she was a cat. Meow, Mom, I love you. I love you too, Numi. And then she'd be like, Mom, you have to do it back. And so then Georgie would have to go, meow, love you too. One of my baby sisters pretends to be like a little baby, like she's 3.5, but likes to pretend to be like a small child and go, wah, wah. Pretending to be a cat isn't that far off. One thing that super bothered me though was that she stayed home from Nebraska to work on her dang TV show. And what does she do the entire time? Not work on her TV show. I get it, she's having trouble with her marriage and she thinks that her husband is going to ask her for a divorce or ask for separation, and that's absolutely terrifying. Try to reconcile your marriage and then work on the TV show. One of the really funny details in the book was when Heather picks up the magic phone and is like, hey, it's Heather. Neil's like, who? Georgie picks up the phone and is like, sorry. He's like, who's that? She's like, Heather. And he's like, your sister Heather is too, Georgie. And Georgie's like, it's my cousin. My cousin named Heather. My mom named my sister Heather after my cousin Heather. I love how at the end of the book we have another parallel to that. She's like, oh yeah, I found out Heather is gay. He's just like, wait, your cousin Heather is gay or your sister? Why don't we talk about the magic phone? That's one thing that I really hope happens after these 313 pages. I loved seeing them reconcile their relationship. Like I loved when she was talking to young him and they just had such ease talking to each other. I didn't realize this while I was reading it or after I finished reading it until I watched Christine's book talk on this, that the young couple was Kath and Levi. They're engaged and they're there and they're engaged. When was Fangirl set? Was Fangirl set in like 2010? I loved that Neil was a stay-at-home dad. I just loved that he bonded so well with his daughters and they had such a good relationship. And as soon as she saw them again, she kissed all over their faces and it was so sweet. There were just moments where I was reading this and I just started to tear up. I totally saw the thing with Seth loving her coming because, you know, he's always happier around her. She's the only consistent woman in his life. And then he was like, I love you, Georgie. She was just like, well, I have a husband and kids to go find in Omaha, so I have to leave now. Too little too late, buckaroo. That's my book talk on Landline by Rainbow Rowell. If you've read this book, tell me down below in the comments what you thought and we can discuss it because I really want to talk to people about these things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. I'm Maddie, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!